Hey, how's it going? Today is 5th of August, Monday, and we are taking a look at the market, what kind of opportunities we can find in today's video. Let's take a look at some of the government's press releases. It's a new week, so there might be some exciting opportunities being created by our administration, right? We can take a look at some of the important ones. So we can take a look at investments. Let's take a look at agriculture and or farming, and let's take a look at energy production and what we have available today. First, starting with Britain set for growth with International Investment Summit. That the government has announced the date of International Investment Summit as it drives forward national mission for growth. Something that was published 3rd of August very recently. And I think that is something that's constantly being done, as well as perhaps some of the details might change. There might be numbers, as I think previous one was 200. This time perhaps they're looking at 300 of investment partners. But either way, I haven't read this article. Let's read it and let's try to understand it. Quickly, just some of the reflections and progress on the calendar. We are finishing week 153. Overall, it's a great week. I managed to do a lot of sales calls, so it's something I was doing a lot of this week, not necessarily looking at that many agreements and or contracts. Next, no, this week we're gonna be taking a look at some that I already have started, some of the sales calls, as well as we're gonna be closing week, taking a look at the government contracts, and we're gonna be doing a lot of marketing this week. Let's take a look at some of the bullet points and information, but I think it's overall information that it would be very straightforward. Perhaps we can only understand, I haven't read this article, we can understand that who is our organizers. Would that be current administration of UK, and they are organizing and we're looking for investors into the region to support some of the initiatives that the government's looking to launch. So it's something I myself are looking to understand. But either way, let's take a look at some of the bullet points. UK will host major international investment summit on 14th of October 2024 as it drives forward national mission for growth. And next bullet point, that would be a prime minister to bring together up to 300 industry leaders to catalyze investment in the UK. Okay, so I think it's prime minister, so that would be current administration of UK. I believe last time it was 200, but either way, it's 300. Perhaps it's even better. And what would be a cap rate? So what would those investments would look like, starting with 1 million, 5 million, or they starting with 10,000? So it depends, right? But either way, next bullet point, that would be a councillor. There's a name there, and business and trade secretary. There's another name there. We'll confirm UK is open for business. Okay, okay. Currently, for people who don't know, some of those departments right now they're carrying out a lot of surveys, and people can express their views. Some of those obstacles, and I have been approached. I think that many people have been approached by some of these departments that they're referring in this article, and they were asking for views and feedback, right? Uh, Perhaps there's some options there for people to share their views and give their feedback. Problems with that might be that after you share that feedback, if there's gonna be any changes, so that's a different thing. But they're asking for you to express the views, right? But either way, let's progress with this article. That will be UK will host a major international investment summit on 14th of October 2024. Advancing opportunities for investment and growth across the country. Economic growth is the government's top priority, and investment in one of the key pillars of council's growth strategy. The summit will make clear that UK is open for business and government resets relationships with trading partners around the globe, and now creating a pro-business environment that supports innovation and high-quality jobs at home, which should be important, right? October summit will be a celebration of modern Britain and will allow global business leaders to hear directly from Prime Minister and cabinet missions on how the government will drive future investments. It comes as business confidence jumped in July to the highest level shown by 8 years. Just last week, leading savings and retirement firm, that is the name of the company, perhaps we go in too much in detail, but either way, the example might be important. And the global investment manager, that is perhaps a company's name that I'm not aware of, announced that it will be launching a new private markets investment manager, deploying up to 2.5 billion over 3 years with initial commitment of 1 billion for the evidence of investor confidence in the UK. Okay, good. Well, perhaps new government and or new initiatives will bring back UK's manufacturing, since UK have fall from top 10 governments when it comes to manufacturing. So perhaps that's some of those concerns, but not necessarily of the new government. But it's not something that any last government perhaps achieved to this point, and or this government should be addressing, right? I don't mind talking about problems, not necessarily that's of interest to many people, acknowledging some of these issues, right? Perhaps we're only talking about some of the good things, right? But either way, let's progress to the next opportunities and let's try to understand what else is happening, right? Let's take a look at the next article. I believe that's very important, but not necessarily they have shared all the information that would be. First Sustainable Farming Incentive Agreement live for 2024. The first Sustainable Farming Incentive Agreement for 2024 are now live as the government starts to deliver on its commitment to restore stability for the farming sector, to continue the control rollout of the scheme. So essentially, I was taking a look at previously, that would be potentially reducing interest rates, so that would be borrowing, and how farmers would be able to borrow money when it comes to food security. I think the sector, everyone would be very, very affected if government wouldn't perform, in particular when it comes to farming. Once that been said, let's take a look at next articles, right? What would be on priority list, next importance, that would be perhaps energy, right? Let's take a look at last article and what will be important. That will be UK France best practice exchange on research security. Science and Innovation Network France brought together UK's National Hydrogen Research Hub and the French equivalent to organize broker event. Interesting. So that might have a lot of opportunities when it comes to new markets, developing markets, and entering into some of those partnerships with neighbors, that would be overseas neighbors in France, and there might be. So the problem would be energy, right? So hydrogen, right? The storage of energy and usage, right? And something that was published today, and we can take a look at this article for people who might be interested in this sector. Some information that will be beginning with the introduction. A UK-France summit was held in Paris on 10th of March 2023. Former Prime Minister, let's keep names just in case, I know President of France at the time, agreed bilateral energy partnership focusing on the transition to net zero energy systems. Part of that can be hydrogen, but not necessarily only, right? And all best and only, but that will be potentially one of those ways, right? Once that's been said, let's well, take a look at the risk, right? So that's why I'm highlighting the risk factors. The partnership includes working on hydrogen, seizing the opportunity, and aligning this with our research priorities. France brought the KST National Hydrogen Research Hubs. I have reached out to both of those, so hopefully we can have a response and sit down if they are actually interested in doing anything. Since one of those organizations' websites currently have, perhaps they won't gonna have those kind of technical difficulties in the future, but they currently have those. Perhaps there's something that has to do with some of those U.S. businesses who had some issues last week and still having those issues when it comes to registration, but either way. On board, he organized a brokerage event between the hubs and the equivalents in France. So perhaps some of these partnerships, as well as the research, French National Hydrogen Research Network, which boasts the extensive ecosystem of over 300 research and over 30 laboratories. We learned that they have different code names. Regulatory holds workshops with international researchers. However, they had not yet meet with the British networks. Okay, so perhaps there might be new partnerships and engagement opportunities. This was opportunity to meet to do introductions, as well as a UK hydrogen exchange. We can briefly touch on that. But if anything, if it's something you are interested in, that would be energy solutions and hydrogen. But it's very difficult technology to work with, and not that many people are capable of doing it. So when Zadin says perhaps there might be some future opportunities, but not that many people can work with it. So when Zadin said, let's close that. Thanks for watching. See you next one.